Your body is created from a billion perfect factors of goodness. Your speech satisfies the yearning of countless sentient beings. Your mind perceives all objects of knowledge exactly as they are. I bow my head to you, O chief of the Shakya clan. You are the most excellent sons of such peerless teacher. You carry the burden of the enlightened activities of all conquerors, and in countless realms you engage in ecstatic display of emanations. I pay homage to you, O Maitreya and Manjushri. So difficult to fathom is the mother of all conquerors. You who unravel its contents as it is are the jewels of the world. You are held with great fame in all three spheres of the world. I pay homage to you, O Nagarjuna and Asanga. Stemming from these two great charities with excellence, are the two parts of the profound view and the vast conduct. You are the custodian of the treasury of instructions encompassing all essential points of these parts without error. I pay homage to you, O Dibamkara. You are the eyes to see all the myriad collections of scriptures. To the fortunate ones traveling to freedom, you illuminate the excellent path. You do this through skillful demonstration for my compassion. By compassion, I pay respectful homage to you, O all my spiritual mentors. I bow down to the mother of the conquerors of the three times, the perfection of wisdom inexpressible by words or thoughts, which is unproduced and unceased like entity of the sky, the object of the wisdom of unique knowledge. Beata kate kate para kate para samkate buddhi soha. Beata kate kate para samkate buddhi soha. Deyata kate kate para samkate buddhi so ha. May all negative forces opposed to dharma be completely pacified. May the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified. May we be separated from problems and harmful conditions to dharma. May all enjoyment be in accord with the dharma. May there be auspiciousness and perfect happiness right here, right now. By the noble of all hearers seeking pacification are lead to peace. By the noble of parts, those benefiting migrating beings accomplish the wealth of all the world. By the perfect possessions of it, the subduer teach the verities possessing all aspects. To these mothers of the Buddhas, together with the host of hero and bodhisattvas, homage. He who taught dependent origination, no cessation and no origination, no inhalation and no permanence, no coming and no going, neither different nor same, these through coming of conceptual elaborations to you who is supreme speaker among all fully enlightened Buddhas, I pay homage. The ground adorned with perfume strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, four continents, the sun and moon. I imagine this is a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyataya me. So this mandala offering is actually the symbolism of this mandala offering is as a Buddhist tradition without a request to the teach, so you're not allowed to teach. That is why it's supposed to be like you offering me all this universe and requesting me to teach the Dharma. And that symbolism of this kind of the mandala is about. So now, among these, the most important is this taking refuge and generating bodhicitta prayer. So during this, reciting this prayer, make sure you really, when the first two line, when you recite the refuge with meditate on renunciation, and the next two line is the bodhicitta, right? So when we're reciting this prayer, it's very important to meditate, taking refuge and generating bodhicitta. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the accumulation I create through teaching to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I make prostrations. Amalaya keda luda nujin ki tuponda da mi ke nanda towa kunji tanam chi sangpa. Tamche ke to taji chwe tuen to. Ranja sunra kun la tawe mi ke san taba tuwe chunga chu tsewe kyunga. Take tseba seze shini nam la kuebe tu. So we finished stanza 15 and 16, right? Now we are in stanza 17. So the stanza 15 and 16 is mainly talking about the suffering of three lower rims. I hope, you've done this practice during this week, specific thinking about the suffering of three lower rims. And when you're thinking, meditate on suffering of specific, these three lower rims suffering, who's happening toward oneself. And through that, you feel kind of fear, concern, these suffering. And you're searching who the only can helps me to overcome this suffering. Only three precious jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sanghas. There's nothing else. So that is why you are out of your fear to suffering of three lower rims. Then you believe only three precious jewel is the one who can able to save me, help me out of these two causes. Then when you show your faith of convince and full relying on them, take full refuge. Somebody, when we are somebody like a who may be harming you, there's one very strong guy there. You run to front of him, please help me, right? You know this guy have power to able to save you. That's how you rely on that person in order to free from these sufferings. Similar, that type of, convince, trust, show your faith of convince, trust to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. And that's called taking refuge, right? If you're not able to show that, trust and convince to the three precious jewel, then not refuge. You don't have refuge practice, right? Having refuge means you can able to show your faith of convince to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha through understanding these three precious jewel can able to save you, right? Saving you with a different way. Buddha as a teacher, actually yourself as the Dharma, and the sanghas as a dhamma supporter. So all this detailed information, very, very important to understand, right? Otherwise, it's very hard to even to achieve the refuge practice, maybe struggle, not understanding properly. So then after taking the refuge, then the next is, what you call the karmic law of karma, right? So this is the Buddhist, which called the uh, right view, mentioned last time. Mundane right view, supramundane right view. We have two views, right? The first mundane right view, which means the view of which called law of karma, right? Good karma result happiness. Bad karma results sufferings. So that kind of belief, it's not just blind belief, right? So the when we talk about the karma, I think they usually in the Lamrim, they're talking about the four different types, the certainty karma, right? The magnification of karma, and not experiencing the effect of karma that you did not do. Then the karma you have done do not perish. So these four things you need to understand, right? First, certainty karma. Definitely, right? There's a one, I'm not sure where is this one. One of the, I'll just leave it now. In the Lamrim text, they do have this kind of the detailed information about this karma. First, it's about your belief through your investigate, meditate, which means through your investigate, study, then you believed the certainty karma. So whatever karma accumulated, result definitely, right? So the certainty karma. Uh, Here, one of the Vinaya texts calls whatever karma is created will bring a corresponding result. So even understanding the certainty karma can tremendous change your life, right? Because whatever karma you created, and here's will bring a corresponding result. So whatever karma you created, you will definitely, you know, experience that result. That kind of believed through the meditation. When you have that, you always be becoming more honest person, more carefully, not accumulate any karmas, right? Then magnification karmas. Second, even one little karma can have huge big result, right? One they use in the Lamrim text. So they specifically use the fruit called peach. The peach seed, when you plant the peach seed is just small one. You plant it, the result, huge big tree. Then decades and decades, you can able to utilize the peach, right? Peaches. Got every year, hundreds of thousands of peaches. You can, you know, utilize that. It's all these peaches come from that one seed. That's called magnification karma. One little causes can create huge big result externally. Internally, much more danger, much, much bigger. Right? This is even external causes can bring like that big result, then inner causes more powerful. Right? It can bring so one karma can create eons of life of sufferings. There's a one specific text which called there's a one guy, one monk, I think. There's a number of monks are doing some kind of debating or something, arguing each other. Then he used some kind of bad words to those monks who's arguing each other. He used just one bad words, result, he been experienced on that result for 500 lifetimes. 500 lifetimes. Just one harsh word, even say stupid, just one harsh word, he experienced himself being stupid for 500 lifetimes. That's how powerful, right? If you go to there's a specific one of the sutra, the Buddha talking about all these karmas. It's kind of really, really scary, magnification karmas, really danger. Because right now we don't see these things. So it's not big deal. We never feel really concerned these things. But that is why when you study on karma, like magnification karma, it's really means even one little karma can create you the eons of life of sufferings, right? That's how danger they are. So these are you, after when you take refuge, then you understanding that's the law of causality. Every result come from causes. Causes can create many results, lots of results. So that understanding the relationship between cause and effect, then among the causes, one unique cause is called karma, right? Then you can apply to the karma. One karma can create, so, you know, hundreds of life of sufferings. So these things you meditate after take refuge, right? So that is why when your mind is changing, after you meditate again, eventually, when you feel so much kind of concern to negative karmas, right? Worries, that means your practice is doing very good. But if you have nothing concerned to any of those negative karma, you didn't even achieve the small scope practice. Medium scope, great scope, of course, impossible. You can visualize, right? You can just think about that. But in the reality, nothing achievement on any of this realization. So from the first, started from karma, that's what I call first mundane right view, right? That's Buddha taught us. So that view, which is called law of karma. So that karma thing is quite difficult. So that is why it's the good thing is when you read the many uh, the Buddha teach on the karma, which is most of those karma teachings are like a story. There's a one called Dodzamlin in Tibetan, Dodzamlin. I don't know how to say in English, but sutra, which is talking about this all beautiful story about karmic story things. So these are uh, quite helpful to understand these things. The logic side, sometimes you apply the logic and goes this way, but sometimes the logic, sometimes it makes sense, but it's not that much, change your heart. So sometimes this kind of the simple story where Buddha taught, this one simple story can huge make sense to you. It can help you. Point is to really believing on the karma, specific the magnification karma, right? These are the one, what do you call the important. Then after the karma, so the after understanding the karma, then you determine it yourself, right? So it's saying that this is turn depend on contemplate well the white and black karma and their effect, and so perfect observance of the ethical norms. So you're determining yourself, and I never ever accumulate any negative karmas in my day-to-day life. Always be mindful. Even I accumulate negative karma, definitely soon I will going to purify them. But that's how that kind of feeling, if you experience that kind of feeling, that means uh, your meditation is now something working well. So you're achieving like a small scope realizations, right? So you always feel hesitate to accumulate karmas, and even by mistake you accumulate negative karma, then evening before you go to bed, or always these things are purifying, right? Cleaning all of these things. That kind of worry, fear when you have, then you always wants to clean my karma. I always wants to wish to get rid of the karmas. So therefore, then you're becoming serious practice on Vajrasattva, 35 confession Buddhas, all this Buddha taught about purification practice. You're becoming really interest means always want to do this practice, always eager to practice on this because you are eager to cleaning, purifying your negative karma because you know these results are how danger they are, right? That kind of experience, when uh, through the meditation, we need to achieve these things. So then the next one, the stanza 17, lamcho trubla tsinyi tsame ten manye pato sachu miongwe ti mazame be gyula lap kosum tiktung time papa ti sapara leti gyongwa ne chewe gyundu topshi tsangwa tenpa che ne juru ne jan nyamle titarki hatwe che jang tishin jang tse los until we have obtained the most qualified form to pursue the excellent path, we will fail to make great strides in our journey. So we must strive in all the conditions without exception of such a form. Thus, these three doors of our so solid, solid, right? Kind of the polluted with evil karma and downfalls. Since it is specially essential to purify their karmic defilements, we must ensure to cherish the constant application of all four powers. I, a yogi, have practiced in this manner. You who aspire for liberation too should do likewise. So, until we have obtained the most qualified form to pursue the excellent path, we will fail to make great strides to our journey. So, until we have obtained the most qualified form, which is maybe, there are many things, but mainly precious human life, right? Precious human life is the most qualified kind of the body form, right? Form. To pursue the excellent path, we will fail to make great strides in our journey. So if we do not achieve this precious human life, leisure and opportunities, right? They're free from 8 non-leisures and 10 opportunities that endow with the 10 opportunities precious life. Till we don't achieve that life, will not achieve not that much benefit us. It's because we will fail to make great strides in our journey, right? We cannot go far more our journey. In order to do these things, most thing is we need this excellent, human intelligence, right? Engage with the Dharma, and to find this precious human life can go far more. Means through this precious human life, we can achieve Buddhahood. We can achieve small scope practice, medium scope, great scope, everything. Till not having that precious life, then it is not that much benefit us. Right? Born into even human beings, not engaged with the Dharma, Even human beings are very smart, but not believing on rebirth and nothing. So then they will not going to achieve any of these things. You will fail to make a great studies in our journey, right? So having this opportunity, precious opportunity like we can go far more, right? Faster, far more. So understanding this, now what we need to do, so we must strive in all the conditions without exception of such a form. Thus, these three doors of our so solid, 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 or how it is pronounced, solid. Mm, this some kind of this word is SULL. Solid. Solid. So um, so it is saying, thus these three doors to our so solid with evil karma and dawn falls, which means so point is in order to achieve enlightenment, in order to achieve renunciation, in order to achieve any of this lamrim practice, right? Realization, this precious human life is the most important. Without having this kind of life, we're not going to be achieved. Here's a great strides in our journey. We will fail, right? We will fail to achieve any of this uh, realization. Therefore, what we need to do, we need to plan for this ordinary life to till achieve enlightenment Buddhahood, always to born into precious life, right? Precious life. Otherwise, if you fail one time, then we're going to lose all our practice. So to do that, we must strive in all the conditions without exception of such a form. So this precious human, what are the causes of precious human life? We have to accumulate these causes always, right? So it's showing this, our next precious life is all depend on karma, right? Good karma bring good result. Bad karma bring bad result. We talk about that. So that is why, through understanding on that, therefore, we should strive, put effort constantly to cultivate the conditions of your precious human life. Conditions without exception, such a form, right? That kind of life, which are, what are the conditions? Virtues, merits, good karmas, right? These are you need to accumulate. So in order to born into higher rebirth, the higher precious life is possessed by good karmas, virtues karmas. Therefore, as a practitioner, even you not achieve Buddhahood in this life, it can take quite a number of lives there. So till that, you have to, what you need to do, you're planning. It's called the temporary planning. It's always be born into higher rebirth. That's why I will need to put effort constantly to accumulate merits, virtues, right? So prostration, offerings, whatever we're doing, the merit we need to accumulate it. Thus, these three doors to our so solid with evil karma and downfall. So our three doors, body, speech, and mind, right? So the three doors, through our three doors, polluted. Our three doors are polluted, covered by negative karmas, defilements, so much, right? Which means through our body, speech, and mind, we accumulate so much negative karmas in the past. So these negative karma, these non-virtuous karmas are the main obstacle, right? Obstruct to you to achieve higher rebirths. Therefore, our focus is the in order to achieve a higher rebirth, obstacle, and favorable condition, right? It's called unfavorable condition. We need to get rid of them. Favorable condition, we have to accumulate, we have to adopt. Favorable condition, which are the merits. Unfavorable condition, which we accumulate like a bad karma through our three doors, body, speech, and mind, right? Uh, that evil karma, downfalls, which means non-virtues, right? Any non-virtues we accumulated, the downfalls. So downfalls and negative evil karmas we accumulate through our three doors. So these are the one will obstruct us to achieve higher rebirths. Therefore, what we need to do, since it is especially essential to purify their karmic defilements, therefore, even the past, the negative karma you accumulated, you should purify them. Right? All these obstacles, you need to clean them. Otherwise, these past causes will happen, right? Even this life, you've done very good. You accumulated lots of merits, but your past, so much negative karma, if you have, these negative karma, non-virtuous, evil karma, will ripen, right? Obstruct you to achieve higher rebirths, right? So that is why, since it is especially essential to purify all their karmic defilements, we must ensure to cherish the constant application all four powers, which means how should we now first how it's going is the past stanza 16, which talking about the law of karma, right? We study finally from your deep of your heart, that's if your heart is really 100% determined, believing a law of karma, right? If you're believing on that, then stanza 17, it is saying, based on that, next is now you should planning for, because in order to achieve renunciation, any realization, right? Even Buddhahood, most important thing is precious human life, right? That's how the stanza 17 talking about. So if you do not have this opportunity life, then it is very hard to achieve any realization, right? That's mentioned earlier last time. If you're born into animals or even human beings who have nothing, any karma, or have not believing on these things, then of course you cannot achieve any of this realization. So this precious human life is one of the best opportunities, right? If you're able to use it, that life has potential, power to achieve each of these realization, finally to achieve Buddhahood. That because of that reason, what we need to do, you always plan for your next life to just born into higher rebirths. In order to do that, better, higher rebirth is caused by virtues karma. That's why always every day accumulate merits, virtues, right? For sake of these higher rebirths. Then obstacle of the higher rebirth is your negative karmas, your non-virtues, right? So these negative karma, evil karma, your downfalls, your non-virtues, should purify them, clean them. So if you don't clean them, again, they will obstruct you, right? So how should we clean? Is that we must ensure to cherish the constant application all four powers. So Buddha teach us how to clean your bad karma through four powers. Through four powers. So the first, power of reliance, right? Power of relying. Sometimes they use basis power, power of basics. Then second, power of regret, right? The regret to your bad karma. Then the third, the actual power, right? The power of remedy, the actual power. Then the last one, the power of promise, commitments, right? That's called the four powers. And these four powers, sometimes they have kind of fancy, little bit fancy word they use according to the Lamrim. So the power of the basis, that's called the power of relying, power of the basis. Second, the power of reputation. So the power of reputation is that regret, regret your bad karma. The third is called the power of applying all antidotes, that actual power, right? The power of applying all antidotes, actual power. Then the fourth one is called the power of refraining from the misdeeds. So power of promise, right? Commitments. So these are the four powers. So of course, negative karma we accumulated, but you are the person need to purify them. In order to purify the negative karma, you need to know how should I purify negative karmas. Some Buddhists, they believe karma, right? They want to purify the karmas, bad karmas, but they do not know how to purify karmas. Then in the past, when they young time, they did big mistake. They killed, they done all kind of things. Then getting closer to the death, getting old, they worry. Now they do not know how to clean the bad karmas, so they always worry, fear. Now after I die, oh, I will going to fall down because they're already believing on these karmas, already believe. Now it makes more scare, right? And whole life remain with the guilty feelings because they do not know how to clean this. So that is why we need to learn how to purify those bad karmas, right? So that's why here saying through the four powers. The first power of relying, right? The power of the basis. What is that? That in that case, we do taking refuge, generating bodhicitta practice, right? Taking refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha, that means we are relying on Buddha Dharma Sangha, right? Generating bodhicitta out of compassion to all sentient beings. That time, what we're doing, we rely on entire sentient beings. That's called power of relying, right? Taking refuge to the Buddha Dharma Sangha is relying on three precious jewels, generating bodhicitta for sake of entire sentient beings. That's called you rely on entire beings, right? Because when you accumulate the karma, bad karma, either through three precious jewels, either through other sentient beings, right? Only two objects, either Buddha Dharma Sangha, either other sentient beings. That's how we accumulate bad karmas, right? Most of things we accumulate bad karma through others, other beings. So therefore, when you're purifying them, you need to rely on same object where you accumulate the bad karmas, right? It is saying when you fall down on the floor, you have to use that same floor to help to stand up, right? You stand up from that same floor. So similar like that, where you accumulate the bad karma, negative karma, the object we use, that same object you use to clean them. That's why taking refuge and generating bodhicitta, first power, right? Then second power, power of regret. Means power of regret only when you're understanding small scope teaching. I mentioned earlier, the, the Buddhist view, the right view, mundane right view. When your mind is really cognizing, understanding the law of karma, then you can feel regret. If you have nothing, just only what you call the mouth service, right? Only lip service, then of course it's not going to work. Regret feel when your heart is really believing all those bad karmas. I have now result, there's so much suffering, specific suffering of three lower realms, right? That belief is not blind belief, right? Through the study, through the practice, through the investigation, right? Then when you have that philosophy, you learn it. So you already believe that. Then when you look it into all those bad karma you accumulate, then you feel so much regret. Among these four power, most important power is power of regret. Most important. If you feel regret from tip of your heart, then rest of the power becomes very good. If your regret is just so-so, then next of things have become so-so. And regret, it's based on how much you believe the karma. If you not believe in karma, you cannot feel any of these kind of regrets. So that is why learning this, learning the philosophy, right? First, you learn the philosophy, law of karma. Then that philosophy, what you're going to do, it change your mind. Your belief system is changed. You have very strong belief in this karma. Then when you put it into the practice, becoming very powerful, right? Otherwise, the practice is just surface. We pray, we doing, in some time, even during the purification practice you're doing, same time you may accumulate bad karmas, right? We're reciting Om Vacha Sattva, Om Vacha Sattva, reciting the mantra, then same time you see this, you shout them, you do them, sometimes mosquito come, you just kill them. It can go that way, right? Because it's not believing on this bad karma, you just go with the ritual. It's not that much effective. So when you really believe from your heart, it is saying in the Lamrim, when somebody throw the poison snake on your lap, how much scare you have, right? It's for all this snake, it's on your lap here. So they will kill you. That kind of scare, right? Exactly that type of scare. If you feel to your negative karma you accumulate in the past, if you have that kind of fear, then your regrets become very strong. Your regret. If you have no fear, nothing, anything about these things, you don't have regret. Of course not. So that is why, studying this philosophy will change your practice in a much deeper way. So next, regret, right? Then when you have strong regret, then next, okay, how should I clean them? Then next is called the actual power, which here is called the power of applying all antidotes, right? Power of applying the antidotes to those negative karmas. According to the Vajrasattva practice, we're reciting the mantras, right? Vajrasattva mantras. Upon there, we're doing the visualization. Upon there, mainly you confess. Where you accumulate the bad karma, you constantly confessing, right, to the Vajrasattva. You're reciting mantra with confess. So that means any mantra you're reciting is for cleaning your bad karma because you're constantly confessing, I'm doing this because to clean my negative karmas. That's how the merit you accumulated, these merits becoming kind of the detergent or something, right? It was cleaning your what do you call defilements. That's your mind. Where your mind dedicate on these things, it will become that way. That's what we call dedication, right? We dedicate the merit, then that merit is becoming causes of what you dedicated, right? If I recite like the mantra, right? Recite the mantra for sake of next life to born into higher rebirth. Then your mantra, the merit, whatever we accumulate to recite the mantra, that merit becoming causes of your next life, higher rebirth, right? If I recite that same mantra for sake of achieve liberation, then the mantra, the merit you accumulated, it becoming causes of achieving your liberation, right? So if you're reciting mantra for sake of achieve Buddhahood, for sake of all beings, That means the merit you accumulated is becoming causes of Ichi Buddhahood. So that merit, same merit, right, accumulate, you reciting mantra same, that merit becoming causes of Buddhahood, becoming causes of liberation, becoming causes of next and a higher rebirth based on your intention, where you dedicated, right? Similarly, the merit, the mantra you're reciting for sake of cleansing your negative karma, then you have to dedicate on that way. Confess, oh, I did this in the past, I made lots of this mistake, strong regret. Then constantly you're confessing with recite a mantra. That means it's the mantra, you know, uh, through this mantra recitation, it cleanses your negative karmas, right? Then upon there, you out of strong confess, you meditate on renunciation, you meditate on compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness, right? When you do that, this is also becoming actual power, cleaning your negative karmas. It's called variety way to how to clean your bad karma through recite the mantras, reciting the sutras, any do circumambulance, right? Doing prostrations, meditate on renunciation, anything of these actions becoming, right, causes of cleansing all your negative karmas, right? That's how called the power of applying all antidotes. Among there, one of the best thing is meditate on emptiness, more powerful, and more powerful, but much more difficult. This one is more difficult. Reciting mantra prostration is not that much difficult, right? Out of strong regret, constantly confessing with prostration, with reciting mantra, you can do it. That's not that much tough. But meditate emptiness is quite difficult. Even understanding emptiness is difficult, right? But these any actions you put it, all of them becoming power of applying the antidotes. Then after that finish, then last you need to promise to the Buddha, right? Future, I will not going to do that again. In this moment, you have to 100% determine it. Otherwise, maybe not sure I will go into that means you still have not enough power. Power of regret means you completely, what you call, discuss on these things. Your mind is completely changed. Never ever going to do this. This is a huge, big mistake. That kind of power of regret, when you have, promise comes easily. If your regret is so, then so during the promise time, you worry, oh, maybe I will not able to keep this promise, this. So that's showing that. Of course, when you at the moment, when you 100% have kind of confidence to make a promise, when you promise to it, of course, sometimes you still break your promise again, right? But you're still doing your karma where you clean, because when these four power very strong, you can purify heaviest karma, even heaviest karma. If this four power is so, then you can purify karma also so. Then based on this four power, how strong you apply it, right? So that's why first the power of regret is the one big things, important part. Power of regret comes when you start is 100% understanding law of karma. Then you ultimately helps to feel that regrets. So knowledge, lack of knowledge, then it will affect your practice, not becoming strong, right? So that's why study Buddhism, which means that studying on this Lamrim, it's really change your practice. When you more things you more know more, it change. Your mind's changing. So that is why through this four power, right, you apply. So in the past, there are many examples. For instance, there's a one Indian, what you call now, the I don't know, the students. Yeah, it's called the Angulimala, right? Angulimala, Anguli means little finger, right? Mala is the rosary. So during the Buddha time, he unfortunately encountered with the wrong teacher, and the teacher which is not good. According to his teacher, guide him, you should kill 1,000 people, you will achieve liberation. But this guy have very strong devotion, who believe 100% whatever his teachers say. That's why he killed all these 999 people killed. So last, the one person, when he look, he have very difficult to find because everybody run. When he comes, they all run because they know he will going to kill you. So that's why they all run that. So what he's doing is he kill and he take the little finger and then make a mala. That's how he wear. There's one, 999 malas he wear that. And he think the last 1,000 he killed, he will going to liberate now. So the one person now he can't find, and the one day that his mother is coming to see him to offer the food because he don't get any food. Everybody run away. So the mother always have loved the child. Then he's thinking now this is his last choice. He do not want to kill the mother, but there's no choice. That's why he's going to kill his mother. Just before he's going to start that, then somehow Buddha Shakyamuni, it is his lifetime. He's already knows that. That's why he comes beside him. As soon as when he saw this Buddha, he just, oh, very good. Now I don't need to kill my mother. I'm going to kill that guy, right? That monk or whatever they're called that time. Now I'm going to kill him. That's how he chased the Buddha. But when he fast, Buddha walked fast. When he's slow, Buddha walks slow. So it just stay like a few feet far, and he follows Buddha. That's how Buddha teach him. What he done, why he doing this, get all this information through that. He understanding what he done is big mistake, right? Then he give up. Then finally he follows the Buddha, right? Then he done tremendous confession practice, purification practice, so strongly. Of course, during this lifetime, he got lots of problem. After the villagers beat him many times, lots of problem. But he knows his mistake now. But his understanding of this after the Buddha meet, his understanding of the karma, what he done, he cannot sleep, that kind of fear, right? That's how Buddha teach him the confession practice, purification practice. He focus, practice constantly, finally, in that same life, who killed 999 people. And that life, he achieved arhat beings, liberation, right? Even that heavy karma he accumulated because of that purification. So powerful. When he apply it, that's why even heaviest negative karma you can purify. We cannot do it because we cannot apply that strong powers because of we believe in on karma still not yet. We not achieve that realization, even the not understanding of law of karma properly. We believe based on just social, oh, my teacher tell us in the book, not from our heart. That's why we do not feel that much fear, regret to our karma, right? We can understand yourself, check how many times you're doing purification practice in your daily life, right? Even our monastery, we have only once a week. How many times you can able to join this kind of purification practice? Some of you maybe not yet, right? Receiving empowerment, but not yet purification. So that's showing this is the symptom because of the deep of our heart, your heart, we're still not 100% believing on this karma. Not really, not get that. Sometimes say, yes, we believe karma. It's just surface. It's not from your side. That is why we not seeking, like yearning, wants to purify my negative karma before I die. Otherwise, this one light karma and creates like 500 lives of the suffering. Imagine, right? One word. So that's how what you call lack of understanding the karma is effect of our practice. We become lazy. Therefore, this law of karma, that study, meditate till your heart 100% convinced, then power of regret will come. Then when you apply the actual power, it becomes so strong. Then after that, 100%, you have no hesitate to, kind of to commitments, to make a commitment. I will never, ever going to accumulate these negative karmas again, right? That kind of promise. So these are the core 4 powers. You can purify all the bad karmas, right? Now, finally, this is we finishing now. That's why he is saying, I, a yogi, have practiced in this manner. You who aspire liberation too should do likewise. So I, a yogi, Lama Tsongkhapa, right? Is a practitioner. Yogi means the practitioners. The practitioner done these practiced in the past in doing this practice. You follower who really wants to achieve liberation and a Buddhahood should do this practice. You should, do likewise. You should do that way practice, right? That advising. So this is stanza 18. Now we finish the small scope practice, right? Lamrim practice, we divide it into 3, right? Training the mind in the path, shared by the person of small capacity. Training the mind, the path, in the path, shared by a person of middling capacity. Then training the mind in the path by a person of great capacity. 3 different capacity, right? Now this stanza, till stanza 18th, we're finishing small capacities practice, right? So general, now you have to always make kind of the, what you call, make a pillar, right? Simple map. First thing is Guru devotion and precious human life is the foundation things, right? Guru devotion give your mind connection to the Dharma, a tremendous devotion to the Dharma. Precious human life encourage you, stimulate yourself to practice the Dharma, to utilize your life meaningful. These are the 2 is kind of foundation before actual practice, right? So you should think, if you do not have that, if you feel still lazy to do the practice, then meditate more precious human life, right? So that's how you need to encourage every day, to stimulate oneself, wish to use this life for dharma. I'm going to use my life for dharma. That kind of encouragement, through a precious human life practice. Then when you have that, really, now how much life I've left, I will now going to utilize this life for the dharma. So how should I do? First, death meditation, right? Now that's how it started the small scope practice. Everybody should understand, right? The small scope practice started from death meditation. If you go detail, 3 roots, 9 reasons, 3 decisions, right? Divided this way. So mainly, death is certain, the time of death is uncertain. At the time of death, nobody can help you except dharma. So this meditation. So in order to feel, like sometimes our brain is saying death is certain, but our heart is still not accepting, right? So that's why 3 reasons, right? So that's how you should analytical meditation, to analyze first 3 reasons, right? Then time of death is uncertain. No. First, then you feel definitely I'm going to die one day, right? When you feel that, you feel concerned, then first decision, I will practice the dharma. Means I will going to use my precious human life is for dharma. not only for materials. That kind of decision, your mind able to make decision, right? Then second, the time of death is uncertain, right? The second root, three reason, apply this reason. Then when you feel a little bit worry, fear, then make second decision, which means I will practice the dharma right now, not till wait my what you call retirement or something. I will apply practice right now. That kind of decision. If you have struggled to make this kind of decision, you have to meditate that meditation again and again, because you are not achieving that realization, that meditation realization, because you have a struggle to make decision, right? Then at the time of death, nobody can help. Means all this, the object you attach, none of this except karma. Same three reasons. So out of this analytical method, when you finally really feel that, then your decision comes, I will use my precious life, my time before dharma, right? That kind of determination. So that's how you're achieving each of this realization, getting higher stages, right? Then after that meditation finish, then next, suffering of three lower realms, right? Each hell realm suffering, animals, hungry ghosts, all these sufferings, things again and again. It's in the Lamrim text, there are many of these things. Even the animal sufferings, is much easier to, because we can see these things. So when you meditate on that, you apply to you. Right now, I have this clothes, I have food, I have this, but soon as when my breath, exhale, after I cannot inhale, I'm gone. Then maybe I will fall down into the place, have no food, nothing, right? Possible. You live with a very luxury life. Within the few minutes, you maybe fall down to the one of the worst place. No food, no shelter, nothing. That's possible, right? That's how you're meditating. How REM suffering, Parigo suffering. Because karma, we already have this karma. Seed is there. The cancer seed is there, right? Virus is there. Now only the circumstances, external condition arises, that virus will wake up and take you. Exactly the same. Karma is there, right? We accumulate so much karma. So external condition, small things arises, it will ripen there, right? That's your attachments, your destructive emotion who ripen, right? Who nurture your karma, and that karma will ripen. Who knows? After dying time, maybe within a few seconds, it may create some kind of strong attachment, strong anger, right? And that anger will nurture the karma, which you see there, and that karma will ripen first, right? So that's how we should think, suffering of three lower realms. Then you have so much fear, right? Worries. Then, okay, who can able to help me? Then, like refuge, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, right? It's for sake of that suffering, the pain, fear of the suffering of three lower realms. Only who can help me to release this? Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So Buddha as a teacher, actual seva is my dharma, and the Sangha is my supporter. So you rely on them, take full refuge, full relying. That's called the refuge practice. So when you're reciting that practice for the small scope practitioner, your mind, like, I have this illness right now. I'm relying on the doctor and this medicine and sister there. I rely on you three to cure this disease, right? You're coming with something, something you're looking, who can save me because I'm suffering with this illness, right? That's why you rely on doctor and nurse and this, what you call the medicines. Exactly same like that. You have disease of suffering of three lower realms, fear, right? So you're really concerned that's why I'll go to see Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. I'm relying on your 3 jewels to save me. That kind of faith and convince, when you rely on that, out of tremendous faith, that's called take refuge, right? Real refuge. Sometimes we just, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge, we just recite the prayers, our mind is nothing there sometimes. It's just we word, didn't change anything. But that's how we should come. Out of that, even you recite 3 times the refuge, huge benefit. Real refuge is that, right? Then after take refuge, now what is the things? When I rely on doctor and nurse and medicine, now they give us the instruction. They told us certain things, certain type of the behavior. I shouldn't do it. I cannot drink. I cannot use. Otherwise, this will hurt my disease. They give us instruction, right? I 100% follow that. So, what is instruction? Law of karma. Right? Buddha says, don't accumulate bad karma, right? Accumulate good karma. Don't. Even you accumulate bad karma, you need to purify that. So 100% follows, right? Karmic, right? Don't what you call the follow with this karmic process. With a strong belief, right? So you just after take refuge, then you look these karmas. Then after follow this karma, then you see all those. Of course, I will not going to do that again in the past. When I accumulate this negative karma, what should I do? You can purify. That's what Buddha says. In the past thing, don't need to feel guilt. He also gives us the solution. You can purify that. Buddha himself, I mentioned Angulimala, right? This student who can purify for the Tibetan, one of the popular Milarepa, right? Milarepa, most of you know. First, he was just ordinary beings. His auntie and uncle take advantages. Poor guy, got lots of problems. People take advantage. Eventually, he learned all this black magic and then killed them. 35 people he killed it, right? Around 35, I think. Then it's hundreds of acres of this food, grain, and that destroy it. It bring the hell and destroy all of this, right? It's done now. Heavy bad karmas. But he realized after encounter with the correct master, Marpa Lozawa, at his teacher, then he learned and he already have that strong, kind of the regret feeling, then learn this purification. He purified in his one life. He achieved Buddhahood. Imagine the person who killed 35 people and achieved Buddhahood in one life. That means how heavy karma we accumulate. It is, curables. You can purify this. So through those teachers, you learn that aspiration. So you don't need to feel guilt, right? Through these teachers, you learn yourself inspire. So I will always focus to clean my negative karmas. Specific these non-virtuous karmas, who are causes of 3 lowerings, right? That's so through that, finally, the small scope practice is mainly what is that? The fundamental method is you have concern of suffering of 3 lowerings. All these sufferings, you have constantly concern, that fear. And you 100% seeking yourself to my next life will born into higher rebirths. So that kind of desire, wish, is the small scope realization, right? The small scope realization. Through this death meditation, suffering of 3 lowerings, taking refuge, right? After that, law of karma, finally, purification. 5 different practice. Through that, then you apply this practice, you're constantly seeking yourself to free from all the suffering of 3 lowerings and wish to achieve higher rebirth. Constantly, that kind of wish is the method practice of the small scope. you're achieving small scope realization, which means when you have that desire constantly, right, effortlessly, you live with that kind of wish, then you are now achieving small scopes practice realization. Okay, then next is the stanza number 19. Dukde nimi samla mabe na kaba tuye jishin me jeshin. Kunjung kowe juri masana kowe zawa juzu mi shebe. Sile nyen chung kyoshe tenpatang kowa kangi chingba sheba che. Nejuru nyeka nyamne titaraki tardoy kejang dishin jangtse los. Means if we do not strive in contemplating the defects of the truth of sufferings, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. If we do not contemplate the causal process of the origin of suffering, we will fail to understand how to cut the root of cyclic existence. So it's vital to seek true renunciation of disenchantment with existence and to recognize which factor chain us in the cycle of existence. I, a yogi, have practiced in this manner. You who aspire for liberation too should do likewise. So these two stanzas is talking about the training the mind in the path shared by a person of middling capacity. This is the middling capacity practice. We finished small capacity practice. Now this is middling capacity. So middling capacity, the main their focus, their method is renunciation. We have to cultivate the renunciation. That's the main method. How should cultivate renunciation? What kind of philosophy we need to study, we need to understand in order to cultivate renunciation? Four Noble Truths, right? Four Noble Truths is the what you call the philosophy which we study, understand. Through that, you can cultivate renunciation, right? Then if you go a little bit detail, it's called 12 link of interdependence, right? 12 link of interdependence. So Four Noble Truths, 12 link of interdependence. These philosophies help us to cultivate renunciation, right? We study this for sake of achieving renunciation, right? That is why here the first, where stanza 19 say, if we do not strive in contemplating the defects, which means the what you call the disadvantages of the truth of suffering, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. Right now, like a majority, the Buddhist, the practitioner, we do not have aspiration for liberation. We do not have serious aspiration for liberation because we do not still understanding the disadvantages of suffering, the truth of sufferings. Because many type of the suffering we attach. We attach to a number of those suffering. We have attached to them. If we really understand the disadvantages of this object, we will never attach, right? We do not know, that's why we attach. For instance, today, suffering of change, right? When we say we learn the truth of suffering, what that means, it goes to three different types of the suffering. Suffering of change, suffering of pervasive conditioning, right? So it's not just what you should learn. We need to know the meaning of this each of word. Suffering is not that much difficult, right? Like our physical issue problem, mental problem, suffering of aging, sickness, death and dying, stress, depression, all of these kind of things are suffering of suffering. That's not that much critical. Second, suffering of change. Suffering of change, what is this suffering? This is called mundane pleasure. Mundane pleasures are the suffering of change. So, like means today in the world, we're seeing these are the happiness, pleasure, right? But in the reality, they are not true pleasure. They are not true happiness. It's not like that. But we don't see this. That's why we attach to them, right? Suffering of change. So to understanding the suffering, you have to have knowledge. You have to have skill to go much deeper level, not just surface level. You can go much farther, more to the deeper level, then you may see more better way, right? Sometimes when you look at, there's some kind of superstar, like a superstar. One, the person were very, very, what do you call famous, maybe singer, but the inside has suffering of depression, suffering of loneliness. But when they stay on the stage, they can laugh, they can sing a song. So people attach to this person, right? Thinking this is the person, one of the happiest. I want like that person. I want like that. That's how we attach these things because we don't see the reality. When the reality his or her life, when you look at in there, their real life is so much depression, so much loneliness feeling. Deep of that is broken everything. That's why they constantly taking the drugs or alcohol, something to help them to cure this pain they have. But the ordinary people, we don't see these things. We attach. Suffering of change. That's called suffering of change. It appears as a very good, nice, but when you really got it, it's not like that, right? It's horrible, the pain they have. That kind of knowledge, wisdom, we need to use to see all the mundane pleasure, happiness of being a rich, happiness of being a famous, happiness of being a what you call a powerful person, right? Of this, we just see the surface, but we don't see. That's why we meditate, right? Think, look, try to use. When we look into the like a what you call the things which we try to look, we use what do you call this magnificent glasses, right? To look the real thing. Then there's scary things, many scary things in there, many viruses, so kind of things there. But when you take it out, we don't see these things. So some people who work in the lab, all these things, these people sometimes they have kind of which saying they have contagious disease. Always they have to hand wash because they see all these wires always in the hands everywhere. So they are very scared now. Everything's when they touch, there's some kind of virus there because they know these things. They see these things, many things. As a people who have no idea, we don't care. But we don't see these things, right? This knowledge is the one. So that's why we are not just satisfied the front experience, go deeper level. So suffering of change, you look more these things. Any happiness you see, just take that object, you look deeper level. Always have trouble. Everything's inside their problems, right? So physical, I mentioned last time, I'm not sure I talked here or something. So it's supposed when you see very beautiful, handsome person there, right? You may be very attached, beautiful, handsome, so attached. That attachment, why? Because for you, it's seeing very beautiful. Then slowly, when you look, you use the magnified glasses. Look at each part of your body, their body from head to toes. Everything's a scary, right? Inside the eyeballs, inside the heart, lung, kidney, Everything's very ugly, very scary. There's nothing, any one little thing's beautiful there. Nothing. Everything's scary, right? We don't see these things. So that's how every object, when we see something attractive, beautiful, we don't understanding the suffering of change. That's why suffering of change is a suffering. Then the third, suffering of conditioning, pervasive conditioning. That's most important. Specifically for the Buddhist, this is the most important knowledge. Should understand suffering of pervasive condition, what that means. Just basic as a human being, what we have, right? Self is labels, right? Designated on your five aggregates. The aggregates of body, aggregates of your feeling, aggregates of discrimination, and aggregates of mental factors, which are all the mental factors which we have except feeling and discrimination, and aggregates of consciousness, the six main minds, right? These aggregates are contaminated. They are not attractive. They are not pure. Everything's are contaminated. That's why, because of having this body, for instance, just go to the body first. Having this body, suffering of aging, sickness, death, and dying, inevitable, right? We all have to suffer because nature of body is contaminated. It's impure. So that's why living with this kind of basic nature is suffering. Whatever things come, it will come. Suffering of changing, because the based on suffering of pervasive conditioning. Everything's that. Why? Why these aggregates are contaminated? Because the fundamental causes of this your aggregates are your karma, right? Your karmas are causes by your mental afflictions. So causes is dirty. Even virtues karma, right? Virtues karma. But they come from ignorance, mind of ego graspings, right? These are come from there. So causes is dirty. That means results become contaminated. That's called suffering of pervasive conditioning. So meditate on the suffering of pervasive condition. You can look entire samsara. Even when we're talking about the pure land, right? Even born into pure land, same. They're contaminated. They are part of samsara, right? Samsara. They are not something beyond the samsara. How can, right? It's impossible. So everything's contaminated. So this kind of meditation, when you do it again, when you really understand that, then you can tell yourself, now I know truth of suffering, what that mean, truth of suffering, what that mean. Still, if you're not understanding suffering of pervasive conditioning as a suffering, you still not understand Four Noble Truth, even truth of suffering, right? Understanding doesn't mean this. My aggregates it's suffering. Not only that, your heart, 100% belief, see these things, right? Sometimes the people who look into the magnification glasses see there's a virus, but you don't see it. We just believe, yeah, there's a virus, there's a many virus, and this. Some are not 100% your side. It's just somebody tell you. Like that, you just follow with the words. Yourself understanding this, right? It's really different, very different. So when you understanding suffering or pervasive conditioning as a suffering, that really helps to you have a kind of the what you call potential to grow renunciation. Otherwise, no. So therefore, here saying, if you do not strive in contemplating the defect of the truth of suffering, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. If you do not know that suffering of pervasive conditioning, you will never ever come from deep of your heart the aspiration for liberation, freedom of this contaminated body, suffering of pervasive conditioning. We don't have that. That's why some people think, I want to born into Pure Land, I want to go, they have this because they do not know this suffering of pervasive conditioning. What is that, right? When you have understanding something of pervasive conditioning, then only the real happiness is liberation. Liberation means freedom of this suffering of pervasive conditioning, right? Freedom of samsara. Samsara means, what is that? It means we are circling in same suffering of pervasive conditioning. Even born into God realms, born into God realms, Pure Land, the Hell realm, human beings, wherever we're born, our pervasive suffering of pervasive conditioning is same. It's all contaminated aggregates, right? So that suffering, when you know, then you can, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise with us. Means if you do not know that, then you cannot achieve that. And I wish to achieve the liberation, freedom of that samsara. Right? That is why meditate on suffering of truth of suffering helps you generate wish to free from all the samsara, right? Seeking oneself to achieve liberation, that kind of aspiration. Second, if we do not contemplate the causal process of origin of suffering, so if you do not know how we circle in samsara, means how I have to live with this suffering of pervasive conditioning, how, right? How I have to live with this suffering, how I have to circle with all this. If you do not know that, then we will fail to understand how to cut the root of cyclic existence. Then we will fail. We do not understand how to cut the root of samsara, right? We do not know that. That is why second noble truth of origin of suffering, which means how I circle in samsara. Another word, how my five aggregates become contaminated. Why this become a contaminated, right? Then because of mind of ego grasping, right? Mind of ego grasping, the self grasping, which grasps everything, including the self. All the objects exist independently, solid, absolutely. That wrong consciousness create emotion, attachment, anger, all kind of emotion. That's why actions comes. Decision, you make a decision out of this emotion, then we action. So those are the actions called karma. Right? Like for instance, when I use stupid out of ignorance, right? We use stupid. Like for instance, there's a guy done something stupid things, right? Done something stupid thing, you see this, you saw that. When you saw that, you feel like this guy means for you, the guy is solid there, absolutely solid, independently exists. Their action, whatever they acted, these are also solid, absolute there. That's called mind of ego grasping. Everything's appear to your mind, the action, the person who acted, the object, what did, everything's solid. When you see that, you feel very emotion. Then what you're going to do? You say stupid, right? That kind of word, use that action, stupid. So that action is the karma. It's called the karma. That karma, you just say one stupid, it doesn't mean that. That karma you store in your mind, right? Consciousness, the main mind. You're storing that karma, holding there. Now it's there. Hold it there. So that little seed of karma that little seed of the karma has potential to create hundreds of life of stupid yourself, to make yourself become a stupid. Hundreds of life, that little one. And I store these things there. And that's storing these. That's why after attachment, anger, or something comes, then they what go? they nurture my karma. My destructive emotion often arising and nurturing again and again. That karma, the little seed becoming stronger now, potential, becoming powerful. And that's how the result comes with this stupid kind of the aggregates, right? We get that. So that's how we ended up suffering that. So that's how it is saying, you know, uh, if we do not contemplate causal process or origin of suffering, we will fail to understand how to cut the root of cycle existence, right? That's how when you know that, then you say, oh, all of this because of my action. My actions come from root causes, ego, cause, mind of self-grasping. When you know the fundamental causes, root causes, then you know how to cut it, right? You will not going to fail to understand how to cut that root because you know that come from. So understanding truth of origin of suffering, second noble truth, helps you which things you need to cut, right? What you need to stop, you know that. That's how the second things, right? Then the next, so it's vital of seek true renunciation of disenchantment with existence and to recognize which factor chain us in the secular existence. Therefore, I, a yogi, have practiced in this manner, you aspire liberation should do. That's why when you're understanding the suffering of suffering and suffering of origin of truth of origin of suffering, when you know these things, then what you call, so it's vital to seek true renunciation of disenchantment with existence. Means every phenomena, right? Disenchantment, and feel disgust, feel renounce to all of every samsara pleasures or object of samsara, because you know this is caused by destructive emotions and karmas, and result itself is suffering, contaminated. That's why you feel renounce it, feel disgust, right? Renunciation of disenchantment of existence, any samsara, cycle existence, right? And to recognize which factor chain us in the cycle existence. Then you're recognizing which factor chain us, who bind us to samsara, right? Who tied us to this kind of contaminated, you know that. Your mental afflictions, mainly mind of ego grasping, your karma, they are the one who chain us, tied us to the suffering of samsara. None of external things there, nobody there. My mind of ego grasping, mental afflictions, my karmas are the one who tied me in samsara. Since beginning less time, imagine, right? The countless of life we've been in the past. Till today, we are still same in samsara there. We're not liberated there. We're same that. And our next will go same way. That kind of pain, that kind of like what you call the inkless of the suffering we've been experiencing, who chain us? My mind of ego grasping, right? And my mental affliction, my karmas are the one. Therefore, you recognize these things, then what you're doing, you generating all these samsara pleasures, you renounce completely. Disgusting means nothing attached. Feel kind of the what you call revulsion, right? Revulsion to every mundane things. And you are seeking yourself freedom of your mind of ego grasping, freedom of your mental afflictions, your negative karma, the cessation of suffering, right? That freedom, what you call the constantly inspiring yourself aspiration to achieve that freedom of one's own mental afflictions, destructive emotion. That's called liberation. right? So that kind of desire, wish, is called renunciation. This is in this medium scope's main practice, renunciation. All these Four Noble Truths, we learn Four Noble Truths is for sake of understanding the real suffering, understanding the real origin of suffering, and that's how you have these things. Therefore, real happiness is not just, kind of the pure land or something. The real my happiness is freedom of my mind of ego grasping, my mental affliction, cessation of suffering, third noble truth, right? Seeking oneself, wish to achieve that kind of desire called renunciation. Number four, truth path, right? Among the four noble truth, number four, truth path, renunciation. So that renunciation will take you to the liberation. Renunciation is like a vehicle. You have a vehicle now. That vehicle, when you drive it, it will directly take you, your destination is liberation. It never take you to the lower realms. It will never take to the samsara. It will take you straight to the liberation. That vehicle, renunciation, that renunciation vehicle, how can you make that vehicle? Through Four Noble Truth, knowledge of the Four Noble Truth. Then if you go detail, I mentioned 12 link of interdependence, right? 12 link of interdependence, which gives you more detail, like a first ignorance, right? That's mind of ego grasping. First link of dependent, ignorance. Then the second is called the karma. It's called the compositional factor or something, right? Compositional activities, the karma, compositional activity. Then third, consciousness, right? Then the fourth, name and form. Name and form, which means five aggregates. That's five aggregates. They use the name called name and form. Form is the aggregates of the body. Name, which are these rest of the four aggregates: feeling, discrimination, mental factors, and consciousness. Because these four aggregates don't have form. These are formless. You just name it, and there's no form there. That's called name and form, right? Then the next, what do you call the six sources? Six sources, right? Eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, mental, right? Faculties, six sources. Eye faculty, ear faculty, you go, that's six sources. Then the next one, I think this is fourth, fifth, six sources, and the six contact, right? Contact. When you have six sources, then your consciousness will contact to the objects. It's called the contact. Then next one is which is feeling, right? After you contact with the object, then feeling arises, right? Feeling. Then siba. Then the next, when your feeling comes, then sepa, which means grasping, right? Grasping, craving, and the grasping. But number 8 is craving, grasping, which was stronger one, right? Craving and grasping. Then the next siba, which is called potential existence. Now your potential, that karma becoming, it's nurturing your craving and grasping, nurturing your karma. So now karma becomes so powerful, it's called potential existence. Siba, right? Then the next, your birth, born into the samsara. And the last one, aging and death. You're born into samsara, then you are constantly suffering of aging, suffering of death. So these are called 12 link of interdependence. Now you can read it in Lamrim Chemo. They have a detailed information there. So each of these you first learn and apply to yourself how it circles us into samsara, right? The karma, the destructive emotion, how they're creating, here the word, what they call, how they chain us, right, into samsara through 12 link of interdependence. So either Four Noble Truths, either learning from through 12 link of interdependence, our goal is, through study on this philosophy, is to cultivate renunciation. Cultivate renunciation, which means you understanding all the samsara as the sufferings, means not the pure. How perfect, whatever things there, seeing them real, it appear like that. Reality is not. Reality, all of them are revulsion, right? Disgust. Then real happiness is when I free from my ignorance, my destructive emotion and contaminated karma. That means I cut the chain. I'm free now and don't need to come back to the samsara. Right now, I have a heavy chain there, tied me. Right? This chain tied me. I'm not free. So when you cut these destructive emotions, karma, you are free now, right? That's how renunciation is. My real future, my goal is the liberation. Liberation, which means freedom of your destructive emotions, right? And your negative karmas. That kind of desire, always meditate and generate that call renunciation, which is the medium scope practice, right? When you have renunciation, then what they do, how can you achieve there? Renunciation is the vehicle, right? Now, this vehicle, how can you achieve the liberation? Means just having renunciation doesn't mean I can cut my ignorance. My ignorance is still there. Destructive emotion still there. Renunciation is the mind who wants to stop that. When you have renunciation, you know what is your target, where you want to shoot. The target is very clear. If you do not have renunciation, then you miss the target. We're shooting something, the target is wrong. Whatever practice we do, it's not getting to that our target. When you have renunciation, then we have exactly the target where we need to, shoot these things. That is why renunciation you have, but who will cut this ignorance? What practice they do? 3 higher training. Their path is called 3 higher training. Higher training of moral discipline, higher training of concentration, higher training of wisdom. These are the 3 higher training lead us to the liberation, right? So that's medium scope practice now. So that's we finished now medium scope. Now next we'll start the great scope practice. So today, small scope and medium scope practice finish here. So during this week, every morning, practice on the small scope, medium scope practice. We study right now. You meditate, try to cultivate the renunciation practice and hold it, sit with that, with the 6 preliminary practice and 100 deities of Toshida, any guru devotion, right? Apply 6 preliminary practice first. Then after silent, meditate this renunciation through what you call understanding the Four Noble Truths, link of interdependent philosopher you think. Finally, you feel completely renounced to all this mundane pleasure, and your mind is just yearning, seeking freedom of all my negative emotions, right? And my karmas. When that feeling arises, renunciation, then just hold it, remain with that feeling, right? As much as you can. So that's the how you apply. Okay, so we'll today maybe not question answer session. I take 15 minutes extra here. So because I was thinking maybe if not finished, then next Grade Scope will not going to finish it. We have only a few classes left. So if to finish this time, my commitment is try to finish all these teachings. But when I teach, then do not wants to make like a little and not understanding properly. So that's how it's kind of daring my times and it's taking. So, but yeah, this time no question answer section, but next time, when great scope, and then if you have really something confused, not clear, and then next class when you can ask the questions, right? Because when your mind is not clear, then it will affect your practice. When you do the practice, you 100% make sure, 100% you satisfy. If you have a doubt or something, then practice never comes good, never success. So any doubt, anything, something you have a doubt, you have to clean it up. Right? That's how the question answer. It's I have this doubt. Oh, I'm not sure this is that. So caution. Then you clean it up. You feel 100% that's real now. Makes sense. Then when you put it into the practice becoming more effective, but more successful. So that's why this question answer is about this kind of for the practitioner. And it's really, really important. Any practice you do, you have to have full kind of satisfy what you're doing, 100% kind of the confidence you have. Okay, so finally we recite the dedication prayer here. So all of you have this booklet, right? The prayer book. So whatever we accumulated merits, we should dedicate on this prayer we going to recite it. Through these merits, may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdued, and full of faults, and be delivered from samsara oceans, protected by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Samsara and nirvana lack even an atom of true existence, while cause and effect and dependent arising are infallible. I seek your blessing to discern the import of Nagarjuna's thought that these two are complementary and not contradictory. May the precious and sublime Bodhicitta not yet born be born, and that which has been born not decline but increase forever. In the snowy mountain paradise, you are the source of good and happiness, powerful things in just so generously. May you stay until samsara ends. Okay. Now I have to put here unmute. And do. Okay, now anybody.
Thank you,
So
Geshe-la.
that's good. Now I know how to mute completely.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Now you guys have no
Thank
choice.
you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you,
That was
Geshe-la.
wonderful.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Geshe-la.
Geshe-la.